Hi, good evening, everybody, and welcome to our game changing webinar series for SBL for March 2026 attempt. This is Hasan Dossani in front of you, and I hope you guys are doing well. Right, so let's get started. So, what we will be covering in this 2 day webinar. So, it's a 2 day webinar. Day one is today, and day two is tomorrow. Okay, because we have to cover so many things, I had to spread this webinar over 2 days. So, today, day one, we will be covering in a quick introduction, then I will take you through all the formats applicable in your exam. Then I will teach you all the 5 professional skills. And in the last, the most important thing for tonight is the exam techniques. All right. And then tomorrow we will continue with technical articles. We will do one drafting practice tomorrow. And I will share you the list of important topics. And finally, the study plan for the last 4 weeks. Okay. How to ask questions here? So the way to ask question is you can type in the chat box. Today, I will not be able to take verbal questions. So you need to type your questions in the chat box, but you need to keep one thing in mind, that you should only ask questions relating to the slide or topic under discussion. Because I will not be able to answer any irrelevant question because that will disturb the flow. But in the end of tonight, I will open up the forum for any kind of question, but during the presentation, I don't want my chat box to be flooded. Otherwise, I will miss your question. All right. Now, previous webinars. So you know that every attempt I organize SBL webinar. So I get this question from a lot of students. Do we need to see previous webinars? So there is no need to see previous webinars because I will be covering everything today from scratch. But if you want to do some extra drafting questions, then you can look at those previous webinars if you want to do extra practice. So here is the list of various topics which I have covered in previous webinars. So if you want, you can just watch the previous webinars with the intent of doing more practice. Rest, you can skip it. All right. All these webinars are available on YouTube. A very quick introduction of myself, for those students who are joining for the first time. I'm a chartered accountant and I am currently working as Chief Financial Officer or CFO of an insurance company for last almost 15 years based in Dubai. So I actually, in my real life, I'm a working professional, I am a working CFO, and I sit in the boardroom. So SBL is something which is very, very close to my real life experience and job. My teaching experience, I've been teaching for the last 25 years. I have taught over 50,000 students. And I just specialize in SBL. But what is more important is my WhatsApp number. This is my personal WhatsApp number. It is not managed by any assistant or secretary. So if you have any doubts, any questions after the webinar, feel free to reach out to me. Also, I manage SBL Global Group. If you are already part of VIFHE's SBL Global Group, then it's all right. But if you are not, this is the link from where you can join the global group. Now, just I want to tell one small thing here, that I know for a fact that a lot of students are in a lot of SBL groups. Am I right? Or maybe most of you are members of so many SBL groups. Please avoid that, because I am also a member of few of them and nobody knows. And the kind of discussion and the misguidance provided there is very, very damaging, because they are all students. They don't have a proper mentor. So if you want to simplify your life, please stay away from all those groups, because it will only cause confusion and lower your confidence, right? Just join a group which is managed by a proper experienced teacher under their mentorship. You want me to share this? All right. Let me share this link, guys. Give me a second. Control C, share. No, it will be in chat. Okay. I have shared the link on the chat box. Okay, guys. All right, let's move on. So some of the high scorers for December, like this time, a lot of students, they scored in 80s and 70s. So it was a good result. The pass rate for December for the last attempt was 50%. And it was one of the lowest pass rate of SBL. The last time it was 50% is almost 2 years back, right? But still nothing to worry about, because as you know, even 50% pass rate in strategic professional paper is one of the best pass rates as compared to your other subjects. SBL is very different. So I've spoke about this at various forums. So I will not kind of repeat it, but I just want to talk about some important thing. So one of the important thing is in SBL, knowledge of topic is less important and application of knowledge is more important. So a lot of students, they are kind of going through the entire book, the entire syllabus, trying to memorize everything. No need, because it is not a theoretical paper. It will never ask you to define something or explain a concept in general. All your knowledge has to be applied in the scenario, right? So application is more important rather than displaying theoretical knowledge. This is how SBL is different. And then this one is very, very interesting, that more than 50% of your paper is common sense paper. More than 50%. More than half of your paper is common sense paper. You will not see this in any other ACCA paper, that half the paper is common sense. Now, what do I mean by common sense? Common sense means that it does not require any theoretical knowledge or technical knowledge or chapter or models. Even if you have not touched the book, You can still attempt these questions because these common sense questions are based on logical thinking, right? So this will be easy for some students who are good in logical thinking, but this is very challenging for some students. If you are not used to logical thinking, if you are dependent on theoretical knowledge and your logical brain is not that polished, you will struggle. But the fact remains the same. More than 50% paper is common sense paper, and there is only one way you can master these kind of questions is practice, doing more and more common sense questions. Okay? So, this strategy has helped students a lot. So, when you are giving SBL, imagine yourself as a business leader. Imagine yourself as a CFO or a finance director or a business person. Don't think like an accountant or a student. When you start imagining yourself as a senior director of the company, automatically your thought process will become very broad, very business focused. If you start thinking like accountants, you will struggle to pass SBL because SBL stands for strategic business leader. So you will have to demonstrate your leadership thoughts rather than an accounting mentality. Okay, just imagine that you are a senior person, you are a director, or it is your own business. So you see, an accountant, they always think about costs. Am I correct? Accountants, they think about costs. Yes or no? Mostly we are cost focused. We are very tight on cost controls and all those things, and reporting and tax and salaries and overheads. A CFO doesn't think like that. I'm a CFO. A good CFO will think more about revenues, growth, profits. Do you understand the difference? A good CFO will focus on business growth, overall business growth, revenues, efficiencies, technology, staffing, all components of business a CFO keeps an eye on because the ultimate objective is to maximize profits, right? And the key driver to maximize profit is revenues. If the revenue will grow, company will grow. Do you understand the difference in the approach? Yes or no? And this will only come. Most of you are non-working students, right? So this might sound a bit out of box for you, but you can improve through discussions and brainstorming. So those of you who are already enrolled in my live classes, my regular batch, because I have been talking in those lines, rubbing it in. So now through discussion, deliberations, your thought process can upgrade. All right. And always imagine that you are explaining your point to the board. Imagine that you are making a presentation to the board, how you will explain your logic to the board. So think like a senior person and just imagine that you are drafting your point or justifying your point to the board. All my top scorers, nation prize winners, global prize winners, they have actually adopted this mindset. And it will come. It's not difficult, but you have to make an effort. All right, a little bit about your paper. So you have a pre-scene exam. Do you know what is the meaning of a pre-scene exam or a pre-scene format? Yes? Good. No? Come on, Hassan Mahmood. It's like 4 weeks away and you don't even know pre-scene. No worries. So some of the students are not aware. So you need to work very hard in the next 4 weeks. Okay. Right. So pre-scene means that the company's background and information will be given to you 2 weeks before the exam. So it is normally a 10 to 12 page document which talks about the company, it talks about the industry, it provides some basic important information 2 weeks before the exam. So we exactly know which industry is gonna come and which company will be coming in your exam. Now, is that a good thing or a bad thing? That is definitely good. Definitely good that there is no suspense. We already know the name of the industry and the name of the company, some basic information much before the exam so that we can prepare ourselves, right? So now some student might ask that if they have already shared the entire document, then how the questions will come, right? So the examiner is not a fool. So on your exam day, they will provide you some additional information. It is called exhibits. Okay. So on your exam day, they will provide you with some additional information or exhibits. They are normally 1 page each. And then the tasks will be from those additional information. Is that clear? Okay, so we will discuss this more in more detail as we go along. Somebody asked me that is the pre-scene same for every student? Definitely yes. The pre-scene is same for each and every student. But then somebody might ask, what about the exhibits? Are they same for each and every student? What do you think? Exhibits. No, exhibits are not same. It depends whether you are in morning batch or afternoon batch or evening batch because of time zone things. So they change exhibits so that students cannot leak out to other students who have a paper in the evening. Do you understand that? So exhibits are changed, tasks are changed, but the pre-scene will always be the same. No Shifa. All right, clear, guys? Now, How many of you have not seen a real SBL paper? Write me. No, Murtaza. Please, only those students should answer. How many of you have not yet seen a real SBL paper? Just write me. Okay, quite a few of them. Okay, so so one thing is that your paper is on CBE platform. ACCA has a CBE computer-based examination platform. So all your past papers are on your CBE platform. So you need to log in to your CBE platform through your My ACCA portal. All right, so I've already logged on to my portal. Let me open the latest paper. September, December 2025. Okay. That's the latest paper which was published 1 month back. It is about September and December attempt. All right. Okay, so when you open the paper, the first screen which comes in front of you is called the landing page. This is the landing page, or you can say the home page. So you will see that on the left hand side, these exhibits are there. You remember I said that additional information will be provided on your exam day. So these are the four exhibits or additional information given to you. Are you already aware of the content of these exhibits, or do you need to read them during your exam? What do you think? Of course, you are not aware of them. This is the first time you are seeing these exhibits. So obviously, you need to read them, right? And then you will see this pre-scene information. Are you already aware of this pre-scene, or you will be reading them for the first time? Yes, pre-scene you are already aware because it was published 2 weeks before. But just to keep it handy, they also provide a copy of the pre-scene material during your paper, so that if you want to refer to the pre-scene for some quick information, you can easily open up. All right. But I will be conducting a very thorough workshop on pre-scene. So all the key information my students will be aware already. Okay. And then you will see task number 1, which is 34 marks. Right. So if you open up, you will see the task. Task number 1 has part A, and then it has part B. There are two parts. Then there is your answer tool. There's a word processor, there is a spreadsheet, and there is presentation slides. So listen very carefully, guys. In your exam for SBL, we will only be using word processor to draft your answer. You will open up the word processor and you will type your answer in the word processor. We will never use spreadsheet in SBL because it's not a numerical paper or a calculative paper. Whatever little bit calculations you need to do, you can do it on your calculator. So stay away from spreadsheet. Lastly, there is presentation slides. Yes, we will use the slides if the question specifically asks you to prepare a presentation slide. So obviously, if the question says prepare slides, so for that particular task, we will be using slides. Other than slides, all other answers will be on the word processor. Now there is some important information provided here on this side. Okay. So first of all, your role will be mentioned on the landing page. Your role. Can you see your role here? Here. You are a senior business analyst at LiveWell. So that is your role. Okay. Your tone of drafting depends on your role. If you are an employee of the company, if you are an internal person, if you are an insider, then you will adopt an insider tone of drafting like we, us, ours. But if you are an external role, if you have an external role or an external person, then you will adopt a third party tone of drafting. For example, if your role is external consultant or external advisor, then you will change the tone of drafting and you will say you, yours. Okay. So your role will be mentioned on the landing page and also the date will be mentioned on the landing page. So for all the formats which require dates, you will use this date which you can find on the landing page. And then there will be little bit of information about the 4 exhibits. You see there are 4 exhibits, what they are about, and that's it. Now, an interesting observation is that this page is only showing task number 1. Where are the remaining 2 tasks? Any idea? Where are the 2 remaining tasks? It's on next page. So you have to scroll down to both these bars. You have to scroll down. Okay. You will scroll down and then you will press next. When you press next, everything will be same. Only task number 2 will appear. So if you see task number 2 has its own word processor. Task number 1 has its own word processor. Task number 2 has its own word processor. And similarly, task number 3 will have its own word processor. So there are basically 3 tasks. There will be 3 word processors all separate. Is this clear, guys? I think in September attempt, one of the student, he drafted all the answers in one word processor. He drafted all the answers in one word processor instead of 3 word processors. And he got 12 marks. He did the entire paper. but he still got 12 marks. Why? Think, guys. Be smart. Why did he get 12 marks? He did all the answers in one word processor instead of three. Very simple. The other two word processors were blank. Other two tasks, the other two word processors were blank. It will be considered as zero. Okay. So guys, make sure that you use the word processor which is on the task. All right. And then I want to see task number 3. How do I go to task number 3, guys? Help me. I press next. Okay. Let me press next. It's working. Oh, good. Task number 3 is there. How do I go back to task number 1? I think you have to either, there are two options. Either you can press previous 2 times, or you can use this navigator. Navigator will tell you which task you want to go. I click task number 1 and it takes me to task number 1. Also, you can open multiple windows like the answer sheet you can open, and you can also open the exhibit here. You can open multiple windows. Normally, I prefer like this, that the exhibit is here and I can easily copy paste some important sentences. Control C and I can paste it here. And then if I want to copy this paragraph, I can Control C, Control V, or you can press copy and paste, whatever. It's just like a Word document. So you can easily open multiple windows and, copy paste from left to right, or whatever is easy for you, whatever is time efficient for you. All right, guys. All right, so we are done with the CBE platform. Now, I want to spend only 5 minutes on why students fail SBL. Why? Because you need to be aware of those risks so that you can address them in the next 4 weeks. So, the most common reason is that the answers are not linked with the exhibits, the answers are not in accordance with the scenario. Students, they tend to write general answers, not acceptable. All your points has to be with reference to the scenario. That is why, I always pick sentences from the scenario and then I elaborate on it. What did I say? I always pick some important sentences from the scenario. I paste it on my answer and then I elaborate on it. Is this clear, guys? The second important thing, or the second most common reason why students fail SBL is slow drafting, slow reading speed, and hence they are not able to complete the full paper. Time management and speed management is very, very critical for SBL. If you attempt 80 marks paper, it will be very challenging to pass. Let me be very honest with you guys. You want to pass SBL, you have to attempt 100 marks paper. then you might get 50, 55. But if you attempt 80, 85, you will get 40, 45 marks. So speed is paramount. The third challenge is common sense questions. More than 50% um, questions are common sense, logical thinking questions. No book, no chapter will help you on that. Only you need to read the exhibit, think yourself, and attempt it. So you need to do a lot of practice of common sense questions if you want to pass SBL. Then another reason is some students they don't understand the requirement correctly. They don't understand the requirement. And obviously, if you misunderstand the requirement, your answer will go in the wrong direction and you will get zero. So again, very, very critical that you understand the requirement correctly so that you are able to respond correctly. So you need to read the requirement at least 2 or 3 times. Look at the key words so that you understand the requirement. All right. Can you plan for March attempt? 4 weeks are left. The short answer is yes, but it all depends how much time you are giving. So if you are giving only one paper in March, and if you can give at least 4 to 5 hours daily, at least 4 to 5 hours daily, and if you adopt a smart study plan, yes, you can prepare in 4 weeks. All right. So now, guys, are you ready for questions? Saad, including. Right. You are not ready as yet. So, first of all, you need to be aware of the various formats which are tested in your exam. You need to memorize those formats so that you can prepare them quickly. Right? So, there are many formats. The most common one is a report or a briefing paper or a briefing note or a memo. What I have done is I have simplified it for you. If any of these formats comes, you can use this simple format for any of these 4 requirements. So it's very simple. It is to, from, subject, date, introduction, and closure. There are 6 elements: to, from, subject, date, introduction, and then the closure. Where will your actual answer be? Your actual answer will be here. Okay. So you need to memorize this format. So I have a question. From where you will get this? From where you will identify to whom the report is to be addressed? From the task, not the exhibit, the task. The task will tell you prepare a report for the CFO or the finance director or the CEO or the board. So from the task, you can easily copy paste here. Idiots, not from the exhibit. Can you guys not hear what I'm saying? From the tasks. Don't piss me off, guys. I want smart students if you want to prepare for SBL. Okay, don't be dumb. From where you will get your role. From where you will get your role. Landing page, the home page, the first page. Absolutely correct. That's better. Subject, you will write the subject based on the task. Okay. So you will read the task and you will decide the subject of your report. From where you will get the date, again, the date will be mentioned on the first page or the landing page. Then you will give introduction and you will write this report, and then you will copy the requirement from the task. As simple as that. Introduction, you just need to copy the requirement. I will show all this tomorrow when we will solve a question tomorrow. You will see all these things. Okay. And then the standard closure, best regards, and then mention your role. Okay. Right. Let me clean this a bit. So this format is very straightforward. To, from, subject, date, introduction, closure. You can use this format for report. You can use this format for briefing paper. You can use this format for briefing note and for memo. So this format can cover 4 templates. Nice, huh? Okay. Now, is a conclusion required in a report? I'm talking about SBL. Do you think we need to give a conclusion or a recommendation in a report? No, dear. We will not give any conclusion or recommendation unless the task specifically says and give conclusion or and give recommendation. Then yes, obviously if the task clearly says give recommendation or conclusion, then we have to give. But if the task is silent, you will not waste your time in giving conclusion. Is this clear? All right. Then another format which the examiner has sometimes asked is called section of a report. Not a full report, but he has said draft a section of a report. A section of a report means only a small portion of the report. He does not require a full report. So it's very simple. On the top, you will give the heading section of a report. You will skip the to and from and date. Just give the subject, introduction, and the closure. Very similar, just couple of items are missing. Okay. So you need to memorize it. It's nothing complicated. Paula later. The third format is email. The question will say draft an email to the finance director. So now it's an email. Same concept. On the top, you will write the name email, then to, from, subject, date, You will give introduction, but there is no separate heading for introduction. Rest is all the same. And then the closure. Okay. Now, presentation slides. This is a bit tricky. So for presentation slide, let me take you to the CBE platform. Okay. Where is slides? Or in the response option, you see the option. So if the question says prepare presentation slide, then you will click here on slides. When you will click here, you will see slide number 1. If you scroll down, you will see slide number 1 speaker note. So there are two parts. One is the slide, one is the speaker note. Is this clear, guys? So slides has two parts or two components. The first box is the slide. The second box is called speaker notes. Now, if I scroll down more, then you will see slide number 2. And if you scroll down, then you will see slide number 2, speaker notes. So normally the examiner will give 2 or 3 slides depending on the task. But each slide has 2 parts. The actual slide followed by the speaker notes. So what is the difference between the actual slide and the speaker notes? How many of you have actually seen or made a presentation or have attended a presentation? Write me. Just write me. How many of you have either prepared a presentation for something or have attended a presentation by someone else? Good. So normally when you are presenting, so when I present, I have the slide. Slides are supposed to be just bullet points. What did I say? Slides are supposed to be only bullet points, like just pointers. Why? Because the person who is presenting the slide, he is explaining the points, right? So there are just bullet pointers on the slide, and the presenter is the one who is explaining the pointers. Correct? Right. So here on the slide, you will just give the name of the slide and just pointers. Slide number 1, the first part, you will not write stories or paragraphs, or you will not explain your point on a slide. You will just give pointers or bullets. But then where will be your explanation? Where will be your explanation? Yes, under the speaker notes. So speaker notes, you will type your full point or paragraph in speaker note, which is explaining those pointers in the above slide. Is this clear, guys? Why do we have two templates for each slide? The first template is the actual slide, which should be bullet pointers. And the second slide, which is speaker notes, there you will be writing or drafting your point. So actually, it's just like a normal drafting, but you are just breaking it up into two parts. The headings, the subheadings are in the first slide, and the drafting or the paragraph is in the Second slide. Yes, Arib, obviously. So now, do you understand? So, for example, my company is facing HR issues. Okay. So, our HR director, he prepared a slide in which he wanted to inform the board about the HR related issues. How many issues he pointed out? Can you see and let me know? How many issues my company is facing? High turnover, low staff morale, salaries not aligned. So these are the three issues. So this is how you will present on a slide. Bullet pointers which are self-explanatory, which the reader can read and understand what this person will be talking about. But then in your exam, you will also have to explain these points, right? So where is the explanation of these points, guys? Where is the explanation of these points? Yeah, if you scroll down under speaker notes. So how many paragraphs you would expect to see under speaker notes? Three paragraphs? Why three? What's the logic? Why do you need to expect to see three paragraphs? Obviously, because there are three issues on the first slide, right? So, because there are three issues, a professional way will be giving three paragraphs. Each paragraph will explain one issue. And should we maintain the sequence correctly? The sequence of the issues? Obviously, these are basic etiquettes. If your slide has a certain bullet points, so your speaker notes will also follow the same flow, the same sequence, right? One paragraph for one bullet. Yes. One bullet will have one paragraph. The usual, the way we draft, one paragraph, one point. All right, let's move on, guys. Then also one time or two time a letter was tested. Very rarely, very exceptional situation, but nonetheless, you should be aware of the letter format, right? So it says letter on the top, you will write letter, date, addressee, subject, the opening paragraph, and then the closure. You will need to memorize this, okay? It's not technical. I don't want to go into technical discussions. It's just a stupid format which you need to memorize so that you can quickly make the format in case it is tested. Then also one or two times a press release or a website release has been asked. Prepare a press release. Prepare a website release. What is a press release? Do you know? And if you don't know, please try to guess from the name. Press release. What is a press release? Press means media, newspaper, right? A press statement. Yeah, that's fine. So a press release is kind of a public announcement made by the company in the newspaper or the media. It's all right. And what is a website release? What is a website release? It's an announcement posted on the company's website. Simple, right? Don't overcomplicate. A press release is something which is published in the newspapers. A web release is something which is published on the website. But it is for the public. For the public. We are trying to address the general people, not for employees, for the public at large. That is why we are using newspaper or our website. So on the top, you will give the heading press release or website release. Then you will mention the subject, the name of the chairman or the CEO, the name of the company, the date. So these are some basic information which you will publish in the newspaper, right? That what is the subject or the topic of the press release, what is the name of the company, who is releasing it, and the date of publication. And then you will start with this sentence, then you will give your points, and then you closure. Okay. So again, you need to memorize this. It's not technical, it is just you need to memorize this format. But it has been just tested 1 or 2 times out of 15 past papers. Then one time the examiner asked you to prepare a business case. Prepare a business case. So again, it's very simple. There are 3 headings in a business case: current situation, evaluation of options, and selected option. Now this topic, business case, is related to project management. So it is a very specific topic related format. Project management is the topic. So if the examiner says prepare a business case, then you will give these 3 broad headings. Okay. Then the examiner might ask you for a project initiation document. It is called PID. Again, it's part of project management. So very specific. What you need to do is just memorize these headings, these contents of a project initiation document. How many contents are there in a project initiation document? Can you count for me? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So a project initiation document at least contains 10 important things, right? So you need to memorize this as part of project management chapter. Now, guys, something very important. Many times the examiner has asked to identify the weakness and give recommendations. So obviously, when there is a weakness, then we have to also suggest recommendations how the weakness should be resolved, right? Many times the examiner has asked, identify the weakness and give recommendations. Is the requirement clear, guys? Yes or no? Is the requirement clear? What I'm trying to explain. The examiner, many times he asks this question, identify the weakness and give suggestions or actions or recommendations. In this kind of a question, there are 2 ways to approach it. One, Either you can adopt a paragraph style. So you will mention one weakness and then you will give recommendation. Then you will mention second weakness in one paragraph and then recommendation. Third weakness, recommendation. That's a paragraph style of drafting. I don't prefer that because it's a little bit time consuming and students they make mistakes. Whenever you get a question on weakness and recommendations, I always suggest my students to use a tabular format. Just a two-column table. On left side, I will list down all the weaknesses, and on the right side, I will list down all my recommendations. Not only this is more visually structured, it's more professional, and it's more time efficient. Is this clear, guys? That whenever you get a question on weakness and recommendation, use a tabular format. It will simplify life for you during your exam. Same, exactly same on another topic. Identify the risks and give recommendation. Again, we will adopt the same format. Risks on left side, recommendations on right side. Why I'm stressing a lot on this is because these two topics are tested quite frequently. All right. Now, can we insert a table in the CBE platform? How do we make a table in the CBE platform? It's very simple. I will go to my Word document. Okay. Let me delete this. You see this box, table? Table. I need, how many columns I need? I can add all these columns. I just need two columns and let's say 8 rows. Table is there. I will write here weakness and I will write here recommendation. And then I will just start typing my points here. Clear, guys? Very easy. Done. All right, so we are done with the format. The most important format is report, briefing paper, briefing notes, memo. That's the first template. Section of a report is tested several times. Email. That's it. The rest of the formats like a letter or business case or PID or a press release, very, very less chances, but you need to be familiar with those formats, okay? All right. So are you guys okay with all the formats? Yes, Arup. Now should we start our practice? Are you guys ready for a question? Not yet. Not yet. Why? Because of professional skills. So, do you know how many professional skills are there in SBL? Five. There are five professional skills. Guys, can you please just reply what I am asking. Please don't write anything else on your own, okay? How many professional skills are there in SBL? 5. And what are the marks for professional skills? 20 marks. Yes. So professional skills carries 20 marks out of 100. So your paper is 100 marks, out of which 20 marks is for demonstrating professionalism, professional skills. Can you tell me what percentage is professional skills marks compared to total paper? What is the weightage in terms of percentage? 20% of your paper is professional marks. 1/5 or 20%. That's a lot, guys. That's a lot. If you guys can score good marks in professional skills, would that give you a solid start? Exactly. So let's say out of 20, you got 15. Let's say out of 20, you are able to score 15 marks. Then how many more marks are required just to cross 50? Then you just need 35 more marks out of 80. All I'm trying to demonstrate is the importance of professional skills and how it can save you and make you pass the paper. So please take professional skills very, very seriously. Don't ignore them. Be focused when you are attempting your paper. Now, the good news is that the professional skills are easy. It's not rocket science. That's the good news. The second good news is the examiner specifically tells you which skill you need to demonstrate. Did you understand the second piece? For each question, the examiner tells you which particular skill you need to demonstrate. So you exactly know that for this task, I need to focus more on this particular skill. So that makes our life easy, right? For example, let's look at the CBE platform again. Let's look at task number 1. So task number 1A, you see, there will always be a separate paragraph. It says professional marks are available for demonstrating skepticism skills in probing deeply into the information to assess its attractiveness as a potential. So which skill is tested in task 1A, guys? Skepticism. So if you know what is skepticism skill, you can easily draft it and show it to the examiner, right? Let's look at task number 2. Can you tell me task number 2A, which professional skill? Task 2A, which professional skill? Good. Well done. It says demonstrate analysis skills in considering the advantages and disadvantages of the 3 potential methods of financing. So here in this one, you have to demonstrate analysis skills. Can you tell me 2B? What is the skill required in 2B? Evaluation. So you see, the examiner will specifically tell you which particular skill you need to demonstrate. So that makes our life easy. All right. So basically, there are 5 professional skills in SBL: evaluation skill, analysis skills, communication skills, commercial acumen skills, and skepticism skills. So let me explain to you one by one each of them what it means. So the first one is evaluation skill. Evaluation skill simply means including both pros and cons in your answer. What is the meaning of pros and cons? Advantages and disadvantages, or you can say positive points and negative points. Pros and cons. Favorable points as well as unfavorable points. So your answer should cover both sides of the story, right? The good things and the bad things. Is this clear, guys? So when the question says demonstrate evaluation, then you have to make sure that your drafting includes both positive points and negative points. It's as simple as that. Can you evaluate ACCA qualification for me? What are the good points of ACCA? Give me 2 points. If the question says evaluate ACCA qualification, so what are the good points? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever. And then after the good points, what we will talk about? The bad points. What are the negative aspects of ACCA qualification? 1, 2, 3. You are done. This is evaluation skill, that you include both positive and negative points. Is this clear, guys? Good. Now, there are a couple of things I want to point out. Supposing you are supposed to write, let's say, 10 points in total. Based on the marks, you are expected to write 10 points. So how many positive points and how many negative points you will give? What will be the mix? 5 each? Really? It all depends on the exhibit or the scenario or the information provided. It all depends on the scenario. What information is there? How can you exactly give 5 and 5? From where you will get 5 and 5? From your own, like general points? Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Your points will be from where? You will pick up your points from where? from the exhibits, right? So now it depends on that exhibit, how many positive points are there and how many negative points are there. So there is no hard and fast rule of equal or 5 and 5. No, bullshit. It all depends on the exhibit. It can be 5 and 5. It can be 6 and 4. It can be 7 and 3. It can be 8 and 2, depending on the exhibit. Can it be vice versa? More negatives and less positives? Of course, it all depends on the scenario. We will just follow the scenario. Is this clear, guys? There is no formula for the mix of how many positive, how many negative. We just follow the exhibit. Doesn't matter. You don't have to balance. Again, you see, it's not a balance sheet, 5 positive, 5 negative. You guys are accountants. You want to balance, eh? All right. There's one more thing. Sometimes the examiner says critically evaluate. Sometimes the examiner says critically evaluate. So he adds this extra word critically. Critically comes from the word criticize. And criticize means negative, finding faults, finding errors, finding mistake, finding issues. So when the question says critically evaluate, then you have to focus more on negative points. Focus more on. So you can give positive points, but just one or two. Majority of the points should be negative because the question specifically said critically evaluate. Then you have to criticize. Clear, guys? Aisha, doesn't happen like that. Can you stop being so overthinking? The examiner is not idiot. The second skill is called analysis skill. Analysis skill simply means identifying the reason, the root cause, or the issue. Let me give a very simple example. Supposing some financial is given to you, last 2 year data is given to you, and you identify the variance, right? Then do you normally identify the reason for variance? Yes or no? Obviously, we have to, when we identify material variances, we have to investigate the reasons and explain, right? Analysis skill. So when you identify the reason for anything or the root cause or the issue, the underlying issue, the reasons, that is analysis skills. Do you know why students fail SBL? Do you know why students fail SBL? There could be many reasons, right? We just talked about it. Exactly. This is analysis skills. You are identifying the reason of failure or the root cause of failure or the issues why students fail. So when you identify the reason or the root cause, you are demonstrating analysis skill, identifying the reason or the root cause. Is this clear, guys? Yes or no? Very good. From where you will find out the reason. So analysis skills is about identifying the reason or the root cause. But from where we will get the reasons? Exhibits. Exactly. Everything will be given to you in the exhibit. You just need to identify that reason and then explain that or elaborate that. And sometimes from pre-scene can also help. So it will be given to you. You just need to find out. All right, let's move on. The third one is communication skill. You think a good CFO should have good communication skill. Why? Give me the reason. Why do you think a good CFO should have good communication skill? Everybody is saying yes, but why? So that the CFO can make his point, make others understand his point of view, right? So that the board can understand what I'm trying to say, they can understand my logic. If I'm not able to explain my point, then the board will not understand, right? Same applies on your SBL paper. So, whatever you are trying to explain, whatever point you are drafting, it should be well drafted and self explanatory. Yes or no? As simple as that. So the way you draft your point, your message should be loud and clear so that the reader, the examiner, or the board, they are able to understand what you are trying to say and what is your logic. They can understand your point of view, POV. Now, the challenge is that the board is non accountants, correct? The boards are non accountants. So then you have to explain in layman language so that they are able to understand technical things. So all this is communication. That the how you are drafting your point, how well you are able to explain your thoughts. So it's not about English grammar. What did I say? So I'm not talking about English grammar or high class English. No, no, no. Your point should come across. No? Even if your English is medium, at least you're able to communicate or explain your point. That's all is required. Now, there are few more things in communication. So, second thing is you need to keep your role in mind. If you are outsider, you need to adopt outsider third party tone of drafting. If you are insider, then you have to adopt the insider tone of drafting. If you mess up this, you will lose professional marks. Clear? Yes or no? The third thing is you need to keep the reader in mind. Who you are addressing the report to. You need to keep that in mind. Is it the board? Is it the CEO? Is it the finance manager? Is it your finance team? Is it some external stakeholders? You have to keep that reader in mind so that you talk professionally. And the last thing is the formats. The formats, they come under communication skill. How well presented is your format? Does it look like a report? Does it look like a proper briefing paper? So all these little things are part of communication. The way you are drafting, your role, your who's the target audience, and the formats. Is that clear, guys? Boss, easy or difficult? It's easy, right? And with hands-on practice, it may sound a bit, you know, large right now, but it's not. When you are drafting, when you are practicing, it automatically comes to you. So that is why structured practice drafting is very important in SBL so that all these things they get into your body and it reflects in your scripts. All right, the fourth one is commercial acumen. How many of you think that you okay, let me rephrase. My first question, what is the meaning of commercial acumen? Commercial acumen. Acumen means knowledge or idea. Commercial acumen, business knowledge or business idea. Commercial, like business sense, not industrial knowledge, business sense. Commercial acumen means do you have that business sense? Okay. Now, guys, second question. Do you think a good CFO should have business sense or commercial acumen? Wow, everybody is saying yes. Why? Why? Why do you think a good CFO should have good commercial acumen or good business sense? Why? Very good. So that he understands how the business is operating, he understands the big picture, it will help him take decision making. Even what do you think? What about budgets? Do you know what budgets is? Yeah, when we prepare budgets, it starts with revenue. When we prepare budget, it starts with sales or revenue, right? So a good CFO needs to have knowledge of the company's products, how the revenues are calculated, volumes, prices, discounts, sales promotion. He has to know knowledge, working level knowledge. And then what about staff costs? That's a very big component, right? Staff costs. So you think a good CFO should have basic understanding of HR? Obviously. all the various staff costs like salaries, recruitment costs, redundancy payments, training, so the CFO should know basic staffing things so that he is able to analyze and take decisions. Then what about marketing? Marketing is another big cost component, right? So do you think a good CFO should understand little bit or some basics of marketing? Obviously, otherwise he will be dumb like you guys. He's not a good CFO. So a CFO needs to understand all components of the business because everything comes in the P&L, right? Everything at the end of the day comes into the P&L or the balance sheet. So the CFO should understand all the dynamics so that he can see the big picture, he can see how the business is operating, he can analyze reasons, he can take decisions, he can guide the board. Strategic, yes, very good. All right, now, guys, my third question. How many of you think that you do not have commercial acumen skill in you? Do not think that you have commercial acumen, right? Me. So many, eh? You are absolutely wrong. All of you has commercial acumen. I know that. All of you has commercial acumen. Let me show it to you. Shahzad Rasool, please avoid. Okay, so all of you has basic commercial acumen. Please don't underestimate yourself. Let me check. So last 2 years back, my company's sales revenue declined by 20%. Sales revenue, top line, declined by 20%. Is that good or bad? That's bad, right? Because top line revenue or sales should grow, it should not decline. That's bad. Can you think of 2 or 3 possible reasons why our sales revenue could have declined? Let me see. Can you make a guess? Make a guess. Why our revenue declined by 20%? What could be the possible reason? Make a guess. Try, man. Try. Very good. Who's this? Vansh. What are you doing, Vansh? I read each and every comment, guys. Be careful. Okay. So, guys, I'm getting so many reasons, and almost all of them are absolutely correct. This is commercial acumen. What did I say? You just demonstrated commercial acumen. That's it. Logical thinking. Another example. My company's staff turnover has increased last year, doubled. Staff turnover has increased. What do you think can be the possible reasons of high staff turnover? Think. Low salary, lack of training, low motivation. Very good. Higher competitor salaries, poor management, bad working environment or culture, health and safety issues. Wow. Baba, all this is commercial acumen. Do you understand? This is more than enough. So as I told you that all of you has basic commercial acumen. So you spoke about sales, you spoke about HR, and I can give many more examples. You can talk couple of points, right? So now let me re-ask the question. How many of you do not have commercial acumen? Write me. Samir, memory, please be specific. How many of you do not have commercial acumen? Write me. Good. And again, with more practice, more discussions, deliberations in live classes, this will become more stronger, more polished. Okay. You're not at zero. You are at least at 50, 60, 70%. You are there. So it's not as complicated as it sounds. It's just basic knowledge, basic logical thinking. All right. Let's move on. So you see this sentence. When you start thinking like accountants, you will lose the big picture. You will not understand the dynamics. But when you take a step back and think from a business perspective, you will understand commercial acumen. Is that clear? Good. The last one is skepticism skills. Skepticism comes from the word skeptical. And what is the meaning of skeptical, guys? Do you know? What is the meaning of skeptical? You must have done this in your audit paper. Skeptical, questioning mind, questioning mind. Hello. So, do you think? So, you must have heard that auditors should have a skeptical mind. Have you read that somewhere in audit paper that auditors should have a skeptical mind? What does that mean? That the auditor should not be dumb. They should not accept anything on face value. They should do their own due diligence, verifications, validations, and think logically whether this information is correct or not. So now do you think a good CFO should also have a skeptical mind? Yes, I don't accept anything on face value. Do I look like an idiot? No. If you come and tell me anything, I will cross verify, I will cross question till I'm satisfied. Right. Now, the challenge here, so we all know the meaning of skepticism, right? But how do we demonstrate that in your paper? How do we demonstrate skepticism when drafting answers? Any idea? So there are several ways. Either you can, there are certain words which you can use to demonstrate skepticism. There are certain pet words. You can say that I disagree, right? You can disagree with someone, you can disagree with someone's opinion. So when you use the word I disagree, that shows skepticism, right? But of course, when you will say I disagree, then you will have to give some logic. Is that clear, guys? You just can't say I disagree and full stop. If you disagree, you need to give your POV, your point of view, why you are disagreeing. Then you can say it seems incorrect, or it's not appropriate, it's not adequate, it's not clear, it should be further investigated. So, all these things, when you ask or make such comments that it's not adequate or it's not appropriate, it's incorrect, I disagree. This shows that you are pushing back, you are thinking, you are not accepting everything what the other person is saying. But obviously, when you push back, you have to be respectful, you cannot be harsh, and you have to give your logic, right? When you disagree or when you are saying no, this is not correct, then you have to give your logic, but respectfully. You cannot be harsh language. You have to be professional, just like a lawyer, right? When you can disagree, but professionally with logics. Is this clear, guys? Okay. Can you also adopt a questioning tone? Yes. You can also adopt a questioning tone as long as you are asking the right questions, the relevant questions. You can definitely. So anything which is showing that you are pushing back or asking more questions or disagreeing, all this is skepticism. Now, in your exam, the most difficult is skepticism. Why? Because it's not the concept, the topic is not difficult. But sometimes students, because of the time pressure, they forget to use words like I disagree or it's inappropriate. They forget. They just draft the answer in the normal tone and move on. So just you have to be very conscious that if the question asks for skepticism, then you have to make sure that you use these pet words in your answer. I disagree, it's incorrect, it's inappropriate. What do you think? How have you arrived at this conclusion? Whatever. All right. My last thing on skepticism. Last thing, and then I will give a break. Or I will take a break. I'm the one who's speaking for 2 hours. Supposing, as per marks, you are supposed to write 10 points. Okay. The question, as you're supposed to write 10 points, and the question says, demonstrate skepticism skill. So then, in how many points do you need to demonstrate skepticism skills? In all the 10 points? Or majority of the points? Or few points? All right, let me repeat the question. If supposing you are expected to write 10 points, and the question says demonstrate skepticism, in how many points you are expected to demonstrate skepticism? In all the points, majority of the points, or few points? All right. So the short answer is few points. Not all, not majority, but only few points. What do I mean by few points? Ideally, 2 points. Ideally, two. What did I say? Ideally, two. Please write. Ideally, 2 points. Why did I say ideally 2 points? So normally skepticism skill is worth 4 marks. Skepticism skill is worth 4 marks. Each skill is worth 4 marks. So for 4 marks, we have to give 2 points, right? So ideally 2 points should be more than enough. But if you feel that you can write one more negative point, like 3 points, maximum three. Ideally two, maximum three. Then what about the rest of the points? Supposing there are 10 points, we showed skepticism in 2 or 3 points, then what about the remaining points? They will be normal drafting. As normal drafting. Don't worry about. Okay, just 2 or 3 points. You should push back, you can disagree, you can ask question, you can ask for more details. Two, maximum three. No, Aisha. All right, guys, done. So we are done with 5 professional skills. And as you can see that most of them are straightforward, like evaluation skill. You just need to give pros and cons. Analysis skills, you need to identify the reasons. Communication skill, you need to keep your role in mind, the target audience in mind, and how you are drafting or communicating your thoughts. Commercial acumen, again, it's straightforward. When you talk about business like revenues, marketing, HR, IT, that's commercial acumen. And skepticism skill is when you have a questioning mind, when you disagree, when you push back, when you ask counter questions. That's skepticism. Any questions on professional skills? Please ask now. Gurkan, sorry, I cannot repeat stuff, right? You can watch the recording to understand. Hassan Ali, it's a wrong question. Yes, I will share this PDF. Paula, again, it's technically a wrong question. All professional skills will be tested? Yes, of course. All the fives will be tested. Aisha, please don't be so philosophical. Just follow what I'm trying to explain, right? Don't overthink. I'm very worried about you. You are focusing on wrong things. Hassan, I will cover that during the practice sessions, okay? I'm deliberately not answering irrelevant questions. Anything other than professional skills, please ask in the end. Don't you follow discipline? All right, now I'm getting irrelevant questions. Okay, so let's take a break, guys. Can we take a 15-minute break? It is 8 p.m. in Dubai. I will see you at 8:15, and we will be doing exam techniques, which is the most important segment for today, right? So please be back by 8:15. See you in 15 minutes from now. Guys, can we start, please? All right. So now, guys, the last topic for today is exam techniques. And this is perhaps the most important topic in webinar. So exam technique means how you will spend that 3 hours and 15 minutes in the exam center, how you will tackle the paper in 3 hours and 15 minutes. So exam techniques is basically make or break. Either it can make you pass or it can make you fail. So it doesn't matter how well prepared you were. It doesn't matter how much you studied. But if you mess up the exam techniques during those 3 hours, you are gone. So do you understand the importance of exam techniques? Make or break. Hmm? So please be very, very attentive and try to understand what I will teach. So the first thing is time management. So do you know the total allowed time for SBL? What is the total allowed time for SBL? 3 hours and 15 minutes. Okay, that's given for SBL. It's a 3 hour and 15-minute paper. How much that converts into minutes? How much is that in minutes, total minutes? So you have 195 minutes in total, right? So my strategy is to spend 10 minutes on reading and planning. So the first 10 minutes I allocate to read and plan. Read what? You have read the pre-scene, right? So what do you need to read in the first 10 minutes? The exhibits, okay, and the requirements. Exhibits and the requirements. Okay. Those are the new things or the additional things, right? But guys, no need to read the exhibit, and I will explain in a bit. It's not practically possible to read the exhibits and the requirements in 10 minutes, right? It's not possible. And the remaining 185 minutes, we will do drafting. Is this clear? First 10 minutes reading and planning, and the remaining 185 minutes on drafting. Now, what do we read and plan in the first 10 minutes? This is the list. So, what you are going to do in the first 10 minutes? The first thing is we will read the information on the landing page and identify our role and the date. When we open the paper, the home page, we will look at it. We will look at the exhibits and we will read the information, will identify our role and the date. Now, for example, let's where is that thing? Now in this paper, I will read it. Live Well is a hotel chain. I am already aware of this because it's also mentioned in the pre-scene. You are a senior business analyst. Okay, so my role is there and the date is there. How many exhibits are there? 1, 2, 3, 4. It tells me a bit about the exhibit. It says potential acquisition email to the chief executive, providing information about acquiring, something to do with acquisition. Exhibit 2 is further information, Dulet Hotel, acquisition. Again, something to do with acquisition. The third one is financing and stakeholder management. Financing and stakeholder management, discussing financing of the acquisition and stakeholder management after the acquisition. And it says new systems board committees. Extract for implementing new hotel management system and a board committee. So now we know a little bit about the exhibit. That exhibit 1 is something about acquisition. Exhibit 2 is further information about acquisition. Exhibit 3 is financing the acquisition and stakeholder management. And exhibit 4 is implementing a new hotel management system and a committee for it. Done with the home page? Now, do you think it's important to read the tasks? Yes or no? Absolutely yes. We have to read all the tasks or only task number 1? I think we have to read all the tasks. No, guys. Why you are saying just read task number 1? What is your logic? I can see a lot of students are saying we need to read task number 1. Why task number 1? Why should we not read all the tasks? I mean, it's a very risky strategy to read only one task. No, we have to read all the tasks in one go. Why? Because, idiots, you need to start with the most easy question first. Is this clear, guys? Sometimes I wonder how much stupid can you get? Are you really that stupid? You need to start with the most easiest question first. Is that clear? Is that clear? Yes or no? We always start with the easiest question first. It is not mandatory to attempt in sequential order. So if you are a smart person, if you are a smart person, which I doubt, you will always start with the easier question first and always do the most difficult question in the last. Isn't that common sense? Well, it's up to you guys. My job is just to tell you a successful strategy. Rest up to you. Some idiots are saying we disagree. Fine, it's fine. You are showing skepticism. Good luck. So, how do we read all the tasks? So, you see, all the tasks are not on one page, right? They are scattered. Task number one is here. And then for task number two, I have to go to next page. And then for task number three, I have to go to again the next page. And by the time when I read task number three, I will forget what was there in task number one. Does it happen to you as well? When I read task number three, I will forget task number one. It all gets mixed up. Right. So, but if you have all the tasks on one page, then would it help? Correct. So I always suggest that we should copy paste the task on Scratchpad. Where do we copy paste the task, guys? On Scratchpad, not on the Word document. Don't do the Word document because there are three Word documents, separate Word documents. Don't mess with Word document. On the Scratchpad. Where is the Scratchpad? On the top left. Huh? Okay, top. Oh, yeah, here. Scratchpad. Okay. So let me do it on one side. So task number one. Now just watch very carefully. I will not copy the entire task. It's a waste of time. Okay. No need to copy the entire tasks. Just watch carefully. I will just copy the technical requirement. I will not copy the background. I will not copy the professional skills. Those are for later. Right now, I just want to see the technical requirement, what exactly has been asked. So this portion, right? Control C, I will paste it here. And then I will scroll down, Control C, I will paste it here. Done. You see, as simple as that. My job is to make things easy for you. Just copy the technical requirement on Scratchpad. I will close this. I will go to the next page. I will go to task number two. I will again copy the technical requirement here. Done. Then I will go to task number three. Control C, Control V, and done. All good. So I've copy pasted only the technical requirement on one page. Now I can easily read them, right? Do you understand? Yes or no? Right. So I did not read the requirements. I just blindly copy pasted on the scratch pad. Now I will read. So it says prepare a report which assess the attractiveness as a potential acquisition target. So it's an acquisition thing. I will underline. Part B is advise how the risks relating to integration can be mitigated. Risk relating to integration. Assess the advantage and disadvantage of each of the three financing methods. So this one is about three financing methods. Evaluate the levels of power and interest of each of the five stakeholder groups. So this one is about stakeholders. So I'm just trying to identify the topics. How to manage the change process to support during the implementation of the new software. This is about the new software. Benefit of business committee. So this is about business committee, right? Interesting. So let me recap. So the first one is about acquisition, taking into account both financial and non-financial. Then risks relating to the integration. Then three financing methods, stakeholder groups during the new hotel management system and board committees. Okay. Zaman, no. Is it clear so far, guys, what I did? Yes or no? So the first step was I blindly copy pasted the technical requirements only on one page, and then I browsed through the requirement and identified the topic or the keyword, what this task is about. Now I will try and link it with the exhibits. For example, task number 1 talks about dual acquisition, financial and non-financial factors. Which exhibit is this? You can see the list here. Acquisition, potential acquisition, and further information of the acquisition. It's clearly exhibit 1 and 2. Well, from the name, I can guess it is 1 and 2, right? Acquisition and further information of acquisition. I will write here exhibit 1 and 2. Done? Now, can we talk about this one first? Three financing methods. Which exhibit talks about three financing methods? You can guess from the name, right? Financing. So this is exhibit 3. Now this one, next one talks about stakeholder group. Which exhibit from the name says stakeholder management? Again, exhibit 3. So again, this one we will use exhibit 3. Which exhibit talks about the new hotel management system? It says new system and board committees. This one is exhibit 4. And again, this one is about business committee, exhibit 4. Now, what about this one? I'm not sure which exhibit. I'll just open the exhibit to see if there is any integration topic. I doubt. What about this one? Risk related to the acquisition. There's a topic within the exhibit. It says risks relating to acquisition. Got it. So this one is risks. Again, this one is exhibit 2. Haha. Done. So what I did is I mapped the relevant exhibits to the requirements. Most of them will be straightforward. Majority of them will be straightforward. If you know the name of the exhibits, you can easily map it. Sometimes maybe one requirement, you might have to open the exhibit to see whether there is any subheading or subtopic inside. Is that clear? Right. Now, in this paper, I can see that all the requirements have an exhibit. Is that true or false? In this particular paper, I was able to identify all the requirements with the respective exhibit. True? Yeah. But in your other papers, normally one requirement does not map to any exhibit. So this paper is an exception that all the requirements have been mapped to the respective exhibit. But generally, there is always one requirement which doesn't have any exhibit. So there is no exhibit. So what do we do with that? In case, let's say, this task did not have any exhibit. So I will write no exhibit. Clear? Is that clear? That I will identify that this task doesn't have an exhibit. The rest of the tasks, they have exhibits. Now is the time to decide which questions should we start with? Which one is easy? Which one looks difficult? So generally, there are two ways through which will help you decide which one is easy. There are two ways to decide which questions are easy and which questions are difficult. No memory, wait. The first method is to see whether there is a direct exhibit available, yes or no. Guys, can you stop making stupid comments? Don't misguide other students. The first thing is you will see whether there is a direct exhibit or not. If there is an exhibit available, it makes our life easy so that we can just read the exhibit and pick up the points. Is that correct? Do you understand? How you decide which questions are easy? So the first thing I check is whether there is an exhibit or not. If there is an exhibit, it makes our life easy. And if there is no exhibit, then what? Then that question I will do in last. Okay, when there is no exhibit, then I have to use my common sense. I have to use pre-scene. I have to read all the other exhibits to see if. So it takes time, right? If there is no exhibit, then obviously it will consume more time to identify points in the last. Now, if you see this, there are most of the questions have exhibit, right? Every time, majority of the questions will have exhibit. Then within those, how do you decide which one is easy? So in this paper, almost every question has an exhibit. So then how do you decide which one is easy amongst them? Personal preference. Yeah, definitely. But the rule of thumb, you should always start with those topics which are familiar to you, those topics which you have solved, you know, past papers. So those topics where you are comfortable, which is familiar topic, you have practiced those topics in earlier past papers, go with that. Any unusual topic which you have not practiced, later. Do you understand? So we look for familiar topics which we have done past papers, we are confident, we have solved 2 or 3 questions. It all depends on how good your past paper practice is, right? So with my experience, I can say I will start with maybe question number 3, software implementation committee, because these topics have been tested in earlier papers as well. I can also do stakeholders because this topic is also familiar. It has been tested 2, 3 times. If you have done properly the past papers, you know how to handle stakeholder questions. Financing methods have not been tested that much. I will push it. And this acquisition, again, it has not been tested a lot. I might not start with this. It's very important that you start with that question which is easy, because A, it will get you good marks, and B, it will boost your confidence for other questions, right? If you start with a difficult question, A, you will lose marks. B, it will shatter your confidence. So even the easier questions you might stress out. And C, difficult questions might take extra time, so it might disturb your time management. So the first two questions are really important that you choose wisely. Pick easy questions, familiar topics, so that it builds your momentum, it builds your confidence, and you can grab early marks. Is this clear, guys? In my experience, I have seen that normally task number 1 is dangerous. Normally. Normally, task number one is very tricky. It is actually designed to confuse you, shatter you, or to take more time so that you struggle with time management. So I never start with task one unless I'm very, very sure that it's a easy one and it's a familiar topic. Guys, most of you who have done, who are research students, you must have gone through this, right? So it's now you understand the importance of the first 10-minute planning. It's make or break. Okay, done. So I've explained what we do in the first 10 minutes. It sounded a lot because I was explaining step by step in detail, but in reality, it will take maximum 7 minutes. I've mentioned 10 minutes here, but in reality, on an average, it takes 7 minutes. You just open the scratch pad. To the first thing, you will read the landing page. You will browse through the list of exhibits. Then you will open the scratch pad. You will copy all the technical requirement. Then you will read those, decide, you will map with the exhibits, and then you will decide which one to start, which one to do in the end. Maximum, I average is 7 minutes, but I have allocated 10 minutes. Any questions on reading and planning? The 10 minutes portion. Good. Alifa, you don't understand English? I said any questions on the first 10 minutes. Please don't ask irrelevant questions. I will take that later on. All right. Now the drafting starts. So what I follow is 1.8 minutes per total marks, which includes reading the exhibit in detail. Do you understand that? So we have not read the individual exhibits, right? So that is part of the drafting time. So I allocate 1.8 minutes per total marks, not technical marks, but total marks. So let's see this paper. Let's look at task number 1A. What is the total marks for 1A? What is the total marks for 1A? It is 22 plus 4 professional, 26 marks. How much is the allowed time for 26 marks? Can you please calculate? 26 multiply by 1.8, approximately 47 minutes, right? 46.8. So you can round off to 47. Right. So now what are you supposed to do in that 47 minute? What are you supposed to do in that 47 minute? Read and write. Read what? I know drafting, idiots, but is that the only thing you will do? Read the exhibits, okay? So everybody is saying read the exhibit and drafting. What about the requirement? Your dad will read the requirement for you. Huh? Who will read the requirement? Okay, I ask again, what you will do? This 47-minute includes what? Number one, reading the full requirement in detail, the background, the technical requirement, and the professional skill. Because we did not read it when we were copying on the scratch pad, we just read the technical part. So we will first read the requirement. Then what about format? Who will make the format? It says prepare a report. So you will make the format, the template of a report. Then you will read the exhibit. Then you will copy some points from the exhibit on your Word answer sheet. And then you will draft and elaborate. It's too much things to do, huh? So first you will read the requirements, we will make the format, we will read the exhibit, we will identify the key points, and then we will draft and elaborate. All this in how many minutes? 47 minutes. So for example, if I read this requirement from here to here, it might take 1 minute. Okay? It might take me 1 minute to read the background. This is the background, then the technical requirement and the professional. Let's say 1.5 minutes if you are slow. Then you have to prepare a report. So I will make the template to, from, subject, date, introduction, closure. That will take another 2-3 minutes. Agreed? So total 5 minutes are gone in reading the requirement and making the format. 4 to 5 minutes are gone. Then I will read which exhibit. I will read which exhibit. So I know on the scratch pad I have mentioned the exhibits. So I have to read exhibit 1 and exhibit 2. Ouch. Whoa. So look at the size of exhibit 1. How big is it? Whoa. Almost a page, eh? So it might take you another 5 minutes to read this exhibit. 10 minutes gone. 5 minutes for requirement and format, 5 or 6 minutes for this exhibit. 10 to 12 minutes gone. Then I have to also go through the second exhibit. These are some complicated numbers. Should I read the risk portion now or should I read it once I start that requirement? What do you think? Later, right? Yeah. I think later. Once you start the requirement, then you read the reports, exhibits. So it will take another 5 minutes to understand these numbers, right? So 15 minutes gone. Do you agree? So reading the requirement, making the format, reading exhibit 1, reading exhibit 2, half portion, 15 minutes gone. How much time is left now? 32 minutes. Yes. So in 32 minutes, I have to put my points and elaborate and draft. What I'm trying to show you is it is challenging from a time point of view because there's so much things we need to do. Read the requirement, make the format, read the exhibit. Then you will come to drafting. You cannot directly jump to drafting, right? So the first 5, 10, 15 minutes, depending on the question, will be spent on non drafting things, reading things. So it's all about speed, guys. It's all about speed. If you have a relaxed attitude, I want to read properly, I want to draft nicely. No, no, no. You have to show sense of urgency. You cannot be relaxed and try to give an ideal picture. No, Baba. It's you have to show urgency, speed from day one. Is that clear, guys? And speed will build through practice. It will take time, but you have to focus on building speed. Then only it will build, right? If you don't focus, if you are doing in a relaxed mode, speed will never improve. You have to show urgency, then your speed will start developing, and then you will be able to write faster and quality answer. Mhm. Okay, guys. Back. So, are you guys very clear on reading and drafting time management? 10 minutes on planning, 185 minutes on drafting, and drafting includes several things like reading the requirement, format, exhibits, and then drafting. I think the biggest challenge in SBL is time management. I think because I know that even I will consume time when I'm drafting. I need to show some speed. It's just not you. Even I have to show speed if I want to complete the paper. You see, some of the students in December batch, they told me that they completed the paper 15-20 minutes before time. They were so confident that we did 100% paper. In fact, we completed 15-20 minutes before time. That might sound good, but it is a red flag for me. The moment they said if they completed 15-20 minutes before, I knew something was wrong. No, they did not pass. It's actually not possible, yeah. I mean, even if I do, I've been teaching this. My maturity, experience, drafting speed is very high than yours. Even I might not be able to finish 15-20 minutes before. Forget you guys. And those guys are saying they completed 15-20 minutes before. That was a red flag for me. Although they were very confident, but the result proved that I was right. It's not possible for SBL. Something has gone wrong if you have completed 15-20 minutes before. Maybe 5 minutes before? Yes, that is understandable. But 15-20 minutes? No way. All right. I'm just giving you these points so that you are mindful of these things, huh? Yes, Hasan Ali, of course. Those guys told me that they have always completed all their other ACCA papers 15-20 minutes before. And they passed those papers. But then they did not pass SBL. So, as I always say, SBL is a different animal. Don't compare SBL with any of your other subjects. It is a very different beast. Okay? Don't try to apply your other study plans or what you have done so far on SBL. Please follow my guidance because this is a different beast. All right, let's move on. The next thing is linking with the exhibits. How do you link with the exhibit? So, when you are drafting, you have to talk about the scenario, right? How do you link with the scenario? Any idea? Yeah, I mean, you cannot write general answers. Your answer has to be in scenario. So, how do you link with the scenario? Yes, my existing students will know. Statement of fact. Hey guys, what's going on? Arib, Vansh, Zafar, Arib, guys, I have zero tolerance. You know that by now, right? No irrelevant chatting amongst yourself. Last warning. So, the easiest way to link your answers with the exhibit is that you pick up some important sentences from the exhibit, paste it on your answer sheet, and then elaborate on it. Always start your answers with a statement of fact. And a statement of fact is basically you will pick up from the exhibit. Is this clear so far? How we link? We always start our answer with the statement of fact. Now there is some confusion with some students about statement of fact. So first of all, can you guys tell me statement of fact should be how long? Can it be two, three lines or sentences? No. Statement of fact should be as small as possible. Ideally, maximum one line. Maximum one line. Ideally. Because I don't want to do too much copy pasting, right? If you start copy pasting a lot of things from the exhibit, examiner will say that you are copy pasting all the time. No. So your statement of fact, you can copy paste, but it should not be more than one line. It has to be short. I mean, it has to be the key word or the key message, right? If what you copy pasted is two lines, then I would suggest that you either delete the extra information from that, edit it, or you reword it, the summary in one line. No need to edit all your statement of fact. If it is less than one line, copy pasting is enough. But if it is more than one line, then you need to edit it. Is that clear, guys? Do not waste your time in drafting the statement of fact on your own. Just copy paste and then focus more on your elaboration and your thoughts rather than wasting time on statement of fact. Yes, Arif, that's what I said. If it is more than one line, two lines, if it is more than one line, then you need to reword it. Otherwise, don't waste your time in rewording. Is this clear, guys? Only very lengthy statement of fact you need to reword or paraphrase or summarize. But if it is within one line, Just copy paste and move on and elaborate. So, supposing, so my primary source of information is exhibits, right? My primary source of statement of fact, where I will get statement of facts from the exhibits. But sometimes it happens that either there is no exhibit or there are not sufficient number of information on the exhibit. That's possible, right? That sometimes there is no exhibit for any particular task, or even if there is an exhibit, then there is insufficient information. Then what do we do? If there is no exhibit or if there is insufficient information in the exhibit, we need more points. What do we do? Then we use pre-seen, right? Then we will use so pre-seen is our second source of information, second priority. The first priority is exhibits. First, we will consume the entire exhibit. And then we will use pre-seen if we need more points or if there is no exhibit. Then we will use pre-seen. Got it? Clear? There is one more source of information other than exhibit and pre-seen. There is one more source of information. Do you know which one? The task, the background of the task. No, 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 no. The background of the task. I will show you. So if you open task number 1, do you see a background? This portion is called the background. Even in task number B, you will see a background. Normally, when the background is short, there is no information. But when the background is little bit big, then there is some information in the background also, which you can use in your answer. Do you understand that? So there are three source of information. The first one is the exhibit. Second one, I would say, is the background. And the last port of call is pre-seen. Exhibits, background, and then the pre-seen. So this is what we will search when we are looking for more points. Okay. So that's how we will link. So you see, you understand this sentence? Do you understand this sentence? That normally we will be using 80 to 90% the exhibits and just 10 to 20% the pre-seen or the background. All right. Now, another topic is number of points. How many points are we supposed to write? So it all depends on the marks, right? Higher the number of marks, higher the number of points, lower marks, a lower number of points. So how do we decide? So I have a very simple rule. A well drafted point carries 2 marks. I repeat, a well drafted point is equivalent to 2 marks. So my rule is very simple. My formula is very simple. Total marks divide by 2. That will give you your number of points. So if you want to calculate the number of points, it's very simple. Total marks divide by 2. All right, time for a quiz. How many points required for 10 marks? 5 points. 5 points. Straight 5 points. Ideally 5 point. Can you please write ideally 5 point? All of you. For a 10-mark question, ideally 5 points. Ideally 5 points. I don't want any other word in your chat. Ideally 5 points. Not 4, not 6. Ideally 5 points. But in case if you are not able to give 5 points, then at least 4 points. Yani -1. At least 4 points. So ideal -1 will give you minimum. Is that clear? For 10 marks, ideally 5, but minimum 4. Ideal -1. Now, how do we decide whether we give minimum point or ideal number of points? Yes, up to your time. Time is the first one. It all depends on your time availability. So, time is the first criteria. If you have time, then you should give 5 points. Ideally, 5 points. But if you are slow and you are struggling with time, then at least 4 points. If the time is up, you move to the next question. Forget about ideal, minimum then. It all depends on your speed and time. Is that clear, guys? That is why I'm telling you what is the minimum as well, so that I know most of you are slow or struggling with speed, then you should focus on minimum. Those of you who are fast, you can target ideal, but it all depends on the time available. All right, next quiz. 18 marks question. Ideal points for 18 marks. 18 divided by 2, 9. Straightforward 9. Ideally 9. Subject to time, right? Ideally 9 subject to time. But if you are struggling with time, then minimum how many points? Ideal -1 is 8, right? Good. Quiz number 3. 13 marks. Ideal number of points. 13 marks. 13 divided by 2 is 6.5. 6 to 7. 6.5 is nothing, right? 6 to 7 ideal. Please write 6 to 7. But subject to time. Ideally 6 to 7. And minimum 6 minus 1, 5. Ideally 6 or 7, but minimum 5. Otherwise, you will not pass. But all this is subject to your time and speed, which you need to develop, right? We should all aim for ideal number of points. We have to build our speed so that we are able to give ideal number of points. All right. Now there are certain exceptions. Okay, wait. Let's let's look at this question. Task number 1A. How many ideal number of points for task 1A? 22 plus 4, 26. 26 divided by 2, 13, right? 13 points. But minimum how many? 26, 13. Yeah, 12. Correct. Ideally 13, but minimum 12. What about this one? Part B. Ideally, how much points for part B? There is no professional marks here, so 8 divided by 2, 4. But minimum 3. Next one, for task number 2A, ideal number of points 9. Minimum 8. Okay, I want to see anything with a odd number. No, all of them are even numbers. All right, good. Now, there are some exceptions. Sometimes the requirement asks you for two things in one sentence. I repeat, sometimes the requirement, it asks you for two things, but in one sentence. So it looks like one requirement, but actually the examiner has asked you two things. The best example is identify the weakness and give recommendation, right? So in this sentence, it's one sentence, but it's actually asking you for two things. Number one, you need to identify the weakness, which means you have to identify the weakness, talk about the impact, and give recommendation. So for that weakness, now you have to draft one recommendation. So these are basically two things: identifying and recommending. Is that clear? So then we will allocate 2 marks for identifying the weakness and 2 marks for giving a recommendation. Because there are two paragraphs, right? Do you understand that? Yeah, each point or each para is 2 marks. Get that in your head. So if we write one paragraph on identifying the weakness and one paragraph on giving recommendation, then these are two paragraphs, which means they will be considered as 2 points. So now how do we calculate? Let's say it's a 20 marks. Listen very carefully. Yeah? A lot of students, they get confused here. If it is a 20-mark question saying identify the weakness and give recommendation, so I will do 20 divided by 2. I need 10 paragraphs. I need how many paragraphs? How many paragraphs? 20 divided by 2. I need 10 paragraphs. So I will give five weaknesses and 5 recommendations. Is that clear? 5 each. Supposing the question is 14 marks. How many weakness, how many recommendations? 14 marks. 14 divided by 2 is 7. So 3 to 4 weakness and 3 to 4 recommendations, depending on your time and speed. The class will end 1 more hour. Not 1 more hour, but around 45 minutes. All right, clear, guys? Same for this one, identify risk and recommendation. So we've covered these two scenarios, right? That whenever there are two things required, then you will consider them as separate paragraphs, separate points, and you will calculate accordingly. Now there is one more complication. If number of weakness is already given, so sometimes the examiner asks you to identify the weakness. Clear? So we will follow the previous rule. But sometimes the examiner will give you 4 weaknesses and will ask you to discuss the impact and give recommendation. Do you understand what I said? Do you understand the requirement? Sometimes the examiner will already give you the risks or the weaknesses. Then how do we do? Supposing, I'll give you a real example. The examiner said, discuss the weakness and give recommendation. There were 2 weaknesses given in the exhibit. How many weaknesses given in the exhibit? 2. Okay. So already the examiner has given you 2 weaknesses. You just need to talk about those 2. And the marks is 16 marks. Now how will you write? So 2 weaknesses have been given. You have to discuss the weakness and give recommendation, and total marks is 16. Please read this one. If number of weaknesses is given, then first calculate marks per weakness. It will simplify your life. Step by step, guys. Step by step, so that everybody understands. What's the total marks? Total marks, what did I say? How much was it? 16. How many weaknesses have been given? 2. So first I will calculate marks per weakness. So 16 divided by 2. So each weakness is worth 8 marks. Clear? Yes or no? Each weakness is worth 8 marks. So 2 weaknesses, 16 marks. Now for each weakness, 8 marks, how many points are required for 8 marks? 4. So 4, so 2 impact, 2 recommendation. Then you will split 4 into 2, right? Two portions, because you have to discuss the impact and give recommendations. So two impacts, two recommendations. Is that clear, guys? So you need to give two impact and two recommendations, total 4 paragraphs for each weakness. So then in the end, if you count the number of paragraph, it should be 8. Clear? Okay, let me explain that in a simple. Do you want me to explain that again in a simple recap? Total. Okay, let me do it other way. Whatever is easy for you. Total marks, guys, 16. How many paragraphs required for 16? How many points? 8. Out of this 8, how many weakness and how many recommendations? So we have to talk about 4 impacts and 4 recommendations, right? In total, 4 impact and 4 recommendation, and there are 2 weaknesses given. So then you allocate equally between the two. So 2 impact for weakness number 1, 2 impact for weakness number 2, 2 recommendation for weakness number 1, 2 recommendation for. So in total, your paragraph should be 8 points. Hey. Another thing is if the number of slides are given, so this is for presentation slides, then calculate marks per slide. So if you look at this question, I saw a question on slides. Aha, it says prepare 2 presentation slides. Total marks how much? 16. How do we allocate between 2 slides? So each slide will be how much? So we need 2 slides for 16 marks. So marks per slide. Each slide is worth 8 marks. Princey, what's wrong with you? Is your maths not good? And then you come and tell me, sir, I'm not able to pass SBL. 16 divided by 2. So each slide is worth 8 marks. How many points per slide? 8 divided by 2. 4 paragraphs, 4 bullets, 4 points per slide. Guys, it might seem too much complicated, but once we start practicing, we do several questions, it will become very easy like this. Again, I'm coming back to the importance of structured practice. Yes. All right, let's move on. Enough time spent here. Format. So when you are drafting your point, should it be paragraph style or bullet style? Yes, in SBL, we adopt paragraph style of drafting. All our points are in paragraph form. So, quiz. If I'm expected to write 5 points, how many paragraphs should I expect to see? I repeat, if you are supposed to write 5 points, then how many paragraphs should be there? 5 paras. So each point is one para. So 5 points means 5 paras. These are all professional marks, okay? The examiner counts the number of points, he counts the number of paragraphs. Can you tell me what is the marks for each para? Each para is worth, are wow, 2 marks. Yeah, obviously one point is worth 2 marks. One para is also worth 2 marks because 1 point is one para. Now, what should be the size or length of your para or size or length of your point? 3 to 4 lines. Okay, make it 3 to 4 lines, including the statement of fact or excluding? Including, yes. So you will start with the statement of fact, which is 1 line, and then you can elaborate. So you can add 2 or 3 more lines in elaboration. So total 3 lines is good enough, maximum 4 lines. Clear? The paragraph size should be 3 lines to 4 lines, including the statement of fact. If you are writing less than 3 lines, then your point is short. You will not get 2 marks. And if you write more than 4 lines, what will happen? If you write more than 4 lines, what will happen? You will consume time and then you will not be able to give the required number of points. So it's a very thin balance between the length or the size versus time. So try to focus on 3 lines, maximum 4 lines. 3 lines is good enough, but sometimes you might need to elaborate. I don't know, maximum 4. Is that clear? Now, is it mandatory to give subheadings to each point? Is it mandatory to give subheading to each point? It's not mandatory, but I always suggest that you should give subheadings because it will help you score 1 extra mark for the question because it looks more professional. No, Gloria, don't complicate stuff. I'm worried about you because I've seen your previous comments as well. I think you've learned from somewhere else and now you're mixing things up. So again, I repeat, it's not mandatory. You can just go paragraph by paragraph, but if you can give subheadings for each point, you can score 1 extra mark. And it's actually very easy to give subheadings. Once we start our practice classes, I will teach you the technique. It's very easy. Easily you can grab 1 extra mark. Now, Somebody is asking, should we bold the statement of fact? Yeah, we should not bold. Why? I'm a CFO. I will always ask why. Why? Because number, it will take time, Baba. A simple answer is if you start bolding all the statement of facts, don't you think it will take 1 or 2 minutes extra? And also, it doesn't look good as well. So forget about it, okay? One last thing from a presentation point of view. Baba, forget about bolding. Okay, even the subheadings, please don't waste time in format related beautification. Now I'm getting so stupid questions. I mean, God help you. Who's this guy? Sami, I'm really worried about you, huh? Don't waste your time in any bolding, underlining. You're wasting precious time. A rest up to you. One last thing. You see, the examiner also counts the number of paragraphs. Why does he count the number of paragraphs? Why does the examiner counts number of paragraphs? So that he can calculate how many points you have given, how many points have you given the required number of points, right? Should we leave one blank line between each para? What do you think? I always do. Even in my office, when I'm drafting reports, each paragraph there is one blank empty line. So that the paragraphs are distinctly visible. If you leave one line between each para, they look nice, they look more professional, and the paras are distinctly visible for clarity. Yes. What do we need to do to leave one line? How can we leave one line? Tell me on the keyboard. Just press the bloody enter button 2 times. That's it, right? Just press enter 2 times and automatically one space will be there. On something this so simple, I don't know why students they don't do it in real exam and then they lose professional marks. Once you don't know what kind of students are there right now, you have no idea. All right, we are done with the formats. How much is left? Okay, almost done. Now, common sense question. Do you know how much percentage is common sense question in your paper? More than 50%. Minimum 50. It can be 60% as well. How do we tackle common sense question? Number one is practice. Okay, the more discussions we will have in the live class, your thought process, debates, practice, that's all. But I'll tell you one technique which I follow. In my real life CFO job, do you think I get a lot of common sense scenarios? Yes or no? Every day I have a decision making, I have common sense scenarios where I have to think logically and then give a solution. So I face it every day. I'll share with you the technique which I follow. It's up to you whether you want to avail it or not. What I do whenever there is a common sense question or a common sense scenario, I don't reply immediately. What did I say? Please type. I don't reply immediately. That's a sign of a good leader. What do I do then? If I don't reply, I take a pause of 5, 10, 15, 20 seconds, depending on the issue. I take a small pause. I think. I look at the pros and the cons and the risks for 5, at least I think 10, 20 seconds. I first think, I talk to myself, and then I share my thoughts. When you get a common sense a question in your exam, don't start typing immediately. Don't start typing immediately. Wait 10, 20, 30 seconds. Think, gather your thoughts, structure your thoughts. Okay, plus points, minus points, issues, risks. I can talk about this. First, frame some thoughts and then you start drafting. It may take 30 seconds extra, but you will be surprised that your quality of points will be very superior. If you start typing immediately, you will go fragmented, you will go left, right, center. But when you think, pause and think for 10, 20 seconds, gather your thoughts, and then when you start typing, your answer will be very structured, very professional. Try that out. Okay. The last thing is a bouncer question. What do you think is the meaning of bouncer question? It is a question which goes over your head. It is over your head. I mean, you don't understand it at all. Or I can say in simple words, you have no clue what to do. Clear? In simple words, it means you have no idea what to write. Now, it can be many reasons. Uh, Maybe there is no exhibit. If there is no exhibit, even the pre-scene has limited information, it can be a bouncer question. So the first sign is lack of exhibit. Then it's a bouncer because now you need to gather your points from other sources, right? The second possibility is there is an exhibit, but the requirement is very complicated. You have never heard of that thing before. You have no idea what the requirement is. It is possible, huh? For example, in one of the papers, There was a question on EMAS. 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 Environmental Management Audit Scheme. Even I don't know what EMAS is. Right? So it happens. So whatever the reason, if you have no clue what to do, it's a bouncer for you. Is that clear? It might vary from student to student, right? But if you have no clue what to do, then it's a bouncer for you. Now, I can tell you, I can guarantee that there is always one bouncer question in every SBL paper. Always there is one bouncer or tricky question in your SBL paper. Hasan Ali, don't be over skeptical. Okay. So, first of all, when you see a bouncer question, do not panic because it is expected 100%. Is this clear? Don't act surprised. Oh my God, I'm fucked. No, it is expected that there will be a bouncer question. The moment you panic, you are gone. So be mentally prepared that there will be a question where it will be no clue. It can be 10 marks, it can be 15 marks, it can be 20 marks. That it will be there. So be mentally prepared, do not panic. Now, what should be our strategy then? When we know there is a bouncer question, what do we do? The first thing, do it in the last. Does it make sense? Easy questions first, bouncer question in the last. Logical, right? Second strategy, do not consume the entire time. Do not consume the entire allowed time. Sami, I'm worried about you. When you don't know what to do, why do you want to consume the entire 30 minutes? Let's say it's a 15-mark question. What is the allowed time for 15 marks? Allowed time is 15 for 15 marks question is 27 minutes, right? You want to consume entire 27 minutes on something you don't know at all? Aren't you stupid? Sami, don't. Think like a intelligent person. What do we do then? I suggest consume 50% of the time. Don't leave it blank. Consume 50% of the time. So let's say if it's a 27 minutes, I will give 15 minutes to it. Is that clear, guys? I will give 15 minutes to it. If the allowed time is 27 minutes, 12, 13, 14, 15 minutes, I will try to write something. Cannot leave it blank. So I will utilize 50% of the time. Then what about the remaining available time? What would I do with that? Ahmed, there is no marks for thinking. What can I do if I have 10 extra minutes saved from bouncer? Can I go back to easier questions and add more points? So, for example, you have given minimum number of points. Try to add one more point so that you can give ideal number of. So, Baba, wherever you have left the question or if it is incomplete somewhere else, go back and complete that. Do something which can get you marks rather than spending time and effort on bouncer. It will not get you marks because you have no idea about that topic. Guys, it is easier said than done. All of you are saying, got it, got it, got it. Ghanta. When you are in the real exam, you will actually end up spending more time on bouncers. I can guarantee that. And I will see you again in next batch. Then please adopt this and we will practice it. Yeah. Again, from my experience, I have seen that normally like 70% of the time, question number one is bouncer. Normally, like 70% of the time, question number one is bouncer. And those idiot students who like to start with question number one, they screwed up and they actually ended up spending extra 20 minutes and they missed the easier questions. So please, guys, don't be idiots, don't be dumb, don't be stupids. There is no room for idiots and dumb people in SBL because you are being trained to become a CFO, and a CFO cannot be dumb, right? So please, all these exam techniques, planning, if you have understood it, then apply it by hook or by crook. Those of you who have done this blunder in previous paper, you would know what I'm saying, right? And those of you who are giving for the first time, please learn from others' mistake. Trust me. Okay, guys. So in this one, I'm just out of curiosity, which one looks bouncer? So every question has an exhibit. Fine. And this question number one doesn't seem like bouncer because it is very straightforward. Assess the acquisition. We will apply SFA model. So then this one is risks. Risk is also a very common topic. We will do a lot of questions. Financing methods is something new. I might do it later. Stakeholder is not new. It is tested several times. Software is not new. Committee is. So apparently, there is no direct bouncer question. But I'm sure once we open up the exhibit, we might get stuck somewhere. I'm worried about this risk one. Why? Because if you see the exhibit is very small. If you see only only this much is available on risk. So maybe this is a bouncer, insufficient information. One more thing. There are two topics which are very slippery. What did I say? There are two topics which are very slippery. What do I mean by slippery? Very subjective, very difficult to manage in the exam. Okay. What are those two topics? They both come with C. C. They both have C. They both have C. Culture and change management. Please type culture and change management. These are the two topics, culture and change management. Most of the time they are slippery, not all the time, but most of the time I have seen in so many past papers, they are tricky. Culture, change management. Do you see a question here in the paper on change management? I read some, ah, how to manage the change process. There's a question on change management. I will do later. I'm not sure last. No, there is an exhibit, right? Exhibit. Oh, no, there is an exhibit. I think new systems, this one. Exhibit 4. That's a typo mistake here. It's exhibit 4. So new systems. So I don't know. I need to read this, but generally don't don't attempt culture and change management in the start. Towards the end, maybe the last question, maybe the second last question. Is that clear? So it's all part of planning. It's subjective. It varies from student to student, but culture, change management, bouncers, last 1 hour, not in the first 1 hour. Okay. All right, guys. So quick one, my revision drafting classes are starting from 3rd of Feb. We will be doing 7 to 8 past papers, the recent ones, which also includes 4 time-based mocks, plus the pre-scene discussion, plus the grand revision. All of them is part of revision batch. That's the investment. So those of you who are already enrolled with me in my regular batch or reset batch, no need. It's already part of your package. But those of you who have not enrolled, you can consider enrolling in my revision batch. Before you join the live class on 3rd Feb, please memorize the top 25 important topics. Okay. This is the timetable, guys, for the revision classes. So I just need 1 minute to explain the timetable. So today and tomorrow we have webinar, right? And then from Tuesday, 3rd of Feb, live class will start. So live classes will be held 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. Dubai time, UAE time. So you need to calculate your time. So generally Pakistan will be 7 p.m., India will be 7:30 p.m., Malaysia, Singapore will be like 8:30, 9 p.m. But my friends from Africa and Europe, you might be a couple of hours behind Dubai. So no worries. All classes will be recorded and you can catch up or watch the recording. All right. Another thing is we will be spending 2 days on one paper. because we will be discussing, we will be drafting. So, so you can see X Marine day one and day two, then PSS day one and day two, then Biago day one and day two. So very detailed uh, discussions. Another thing which I want to point out is that there will be 2 days class, then there will be 1 day off gap, then again 2 day class, consecutive 2 days, 1 day off, then again 2 days class, 1 day off. This is the pattern which I have followed. 2 classes, one rest, 2 classes, 1 rest. Lastly, the holy month of Ramadan will be falling during Feb. So, uh, so this from 18th of Feb, which is the expected date of Ramadan starting, the classes will be 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. because at 6:15 p.m. I will need to break my fast here. I will have no energy before the fast. So 7 p.m. Okay, just 1 hour delay, which is good for African and European continents. And then there'll be a 2 day pre-scene workshop. Then there will be one extra special class on important topics like financial projections and some other complicated topics. And on the last day, we will go through the entire 7 or 8 past papers we did. Okay, this timetable I will share in the groups as well. And for if you want to register for my revision batch, please directly message to my support team. They will guide you the enrollment process. All right, guys. I hope today's session was helpful and informative to you guys, especially those who are giving it for the first time. I will now see you guys tomorrow, same time, 6 p.m. Dubai. Tomorrow, our agenda is mainly I will solve one question so that you see how we draft, how we link, how we elaborate. And then I will disclose the important topics and the study plan for the last 4 weeks, both for my paid students and for self-study students. So I will catch up with you guys tomorrow, 6 p.m. Dubai time. Okay. Any questions? I'm very low on energy right now. Uh, I'll take question answers tomorrow at the end of the session. Okay. All right, guys. Thank you so much. See you guys tomorrow. Take care and good night.